Hello, everyone. Scott Ashley with Alabama Bass Nation. For this video, we're going to cover the Tiger Division Regional Tournament at Lake Tuscaloosa. Launch site's Binion Creek, and the weigh-in will be Tuscaloosa County High School. This tournament's a little more complex than the normal one, so please make sure that everyone watches the video, looks at the slideshow, and understands, or you're going to be looking around wondering where to go and what to do. There's a lot of logistics involved in this one to pull off this great fishery. Just don't have great facilities. So with that, we'll jump in to the slideshow. First of all, as always, you can send pictures or short videos, anything you'd like to share to our social media director, Chris Tate there. And you see the slide on the screen. It's still the Alabama Bass Nation Pictures email. There is a new phone number to text the pictures to. I think most people use text. So make sure that you change the number that you may have saved in your phone to this new number that Chris is using for the pictures. All right, we'll get into the meat of it. As always, we talk about checking in. You must, absolutely must check in with our check-in person at the boat ramp. It's particularly important at this one to note that you must check in at Binion Creek boat ramp. Some people will launch at alternate boat ramps. You must come back to Binion Creek and check in before you leave the water. It's going to be very important, especially, it's very important regardless. But you must come in there to check in and get a bump slip, which we're going to talk about for you to be able to proceed to weigh in. Even if you have no fish, you still have to come back there and check in, and then go back to the boat ramp you launched at. All right. Official practice, I believe, starts today, tonight, or in the morning, and it will end Friday, March the 25th at 5 p.m. Make sure you make a note of that. It's staying daylight longer. I know people are tempted to stay out and get more practice, but when registration closes, the tournament waters are off limits. So official practice ends at 5 p.m. on Friday, March 25th. All competitors must be off the water. Registration will be at Tuscaloosa County High School. Okay, that's where weigh-in will be, that's where the trailer will be, and that's where we'll register at. Registration will be at Friday afternoon, March 25th, between 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. We will have the Bass Nation trailer there at Tuscaloosa County High School. As always, we encourage one person to pick up for the entire school if possible. Very important at this one. If you're not able to make it to register and check in on Friday, you must call Jeffrey or myself and let us know, because Saturday morning we'll be at Binion Creek for blast off. We will not be at the trailer. Don't just show up Saturday morning and say, oh, I need to register, because all your stuff's going to be back at the high school and we're not going to have time to go get it for you. You'll have to wait till blast off is over, follow us back to the high school to get your registration and boat flag, and then go back and start your tournament. So very important. If you can't make it on Friday afternoon, you've got to call Jeffrey or myself and make sure we have explicit directions on who's coming so that we know what to bring with us. As always, once you register, please check your registration card against the boat flags that we give you. Make sure that your boat number flag matches the boat number on your registration card. As normal, it's a maximum horsepower for all outboards of 250 horsepower. That's during official practice and during the tournament. Each boat must include a boat captain and 2 anglers. If only 1 angler is joining the boat, must have an observer for a total of 3 people. The launch site will be at Binion Creek Landing, and you may use alternate ramps. Actually encourage, especially the local schools that know the lake and know the local ramps, to use alternate ramps. I'll talk about this more, but I think we have roughly 140 boats registered for this tournament, and Binion Creek will only hold about 100 to 105. So we need roughly around 40 to launch at some of these alternate ramps. There's a couple of ramps, Smiths, and I can't remember the name of the other one, a couple of them that are close by there that will more than adequately hold those other 40 boats. So please, especially local schools, if you would launch at those alternate ramps that you know, and anyone else who would like to do so is welcome to do that. Blast off will be at Binion Creek. So if you launch at an alternate ramp, you'll have to motor over to Binion Creek. We will delay blast off a little bit past daylight, a little bit more than normal, to give teams who are launching at alternate ramps ample time to get over in daylight. It's been getting daylight close to about 6:30, so I'm anticipating around 6:45 to blast off. Make sure that you have your boat flag attached to your boat and visible sight to the staff when you come by the dock, and also other competitors during the day. As I said, we're anticipating around 6:45 blast off. You'll see on the map the way this landing lays out. The boats will be idling across the front of the boat ramp to blast off. So therefore we will not be able to put boats in once we start blasting off. So we'll shut the boat ramp down. I'm going to say around 6:40, but probably about 5 minutes before we start blasting off. And if you're late getting there, you'll just have to wait until we get everyone out and then launch, and we'll get you checked out. Life jackets must be worn when combustion engines running. This includes boat captains as well. All right, this next slide has some special stuff on it for Tuscaloosa. I highlighted some stuff here. Lake Tuscaloosa has a 50-mile-per-hour speed limit on the entire lake, okay? Now, I will tell you from fishing tournaments there in the past that the Marine Patrol runs it heavily, especially on Saturdays. There's a point just down from Binion Creek they like to set at Saturday mornings about the time that blast off's taking place. I've seen it myself. So make sure that you're adhering to that speed limit so that you don't get a speeding ticket, which will disqualify you from the tournament. Now, as far as this speed limit, I have no way of enforcing that myself. I have to depend on the Marine Patrol, right? So if someone is driving recklessly, I absolutely want to know, but don't come tell me that you rode along somebody and they were doing 55, right? I have no way of proving that unless maybe you take some videos or something. This is the speed limit on the lake, and everybody should adhere to it. All right, as always, boat captains, please keep safe distance between boats and always maintain safe boating. This lake is pretty good. There's a few places that are dangerous. I remember one, I think it's called Treasure Island, where there's a blind curve, but it's actually an idle zone. So we'll get to that in a minute. First flight check-in time is 2 p.m. And since it's a trailer weigh-in over to the high school, it'll probably be 2:15, 2:20 before we really get started with weigh-in. Flights will be 10-minute increments as usual. No wake areas. This is what I was talking about. I'm sure this is still the case. It's called Treasure Island. It's not far from the boat ramp. That is a no wake, and it's because it's a kind of a blind corner. Make sure you catch that if you go that way. I remember from being there before, the backs of several of the creeks are out, or no wake zones as well, and any other areas marked as no wake. Off limits will be the Binion Creek ramp area. You'll see a map in a minute, and any other areas marked no fishing. Size limit for Lake Tuscaloosa is 12 inches across the board for largemouth and spotted bass. Let's see, you guys know how we measure fish by now. Everybody should know that's a 5-fish limit. Check-in will be, as I said, on the dock at Binion Landing, the same dock you blast off from. You absolutely must return to that dock at the end of the day to check in, regardless if you have fish or not, regardless if you launch somewhere else or not, you must return to Binion Creek boat ramp dock to check in at the end of the day. If you have to leave early or you break down and cannot make it in, you must call Jeffrey or myself or Daryl and let us know. We have to make sure you're off the water safely. Okay, here's something that's different from this one. And this is another reason it's vitally important that you return to Binion Creek to check in. Once you come to Binion Creek and check in, we'll have staff at the Binion Creek landing to bump your fish, okay? And they will give you a bump slip that you must present at weigh-in at Tuscaloosa County High School. They're going to take your boat flag, bump your fish there at Binion Creek, and give you a bump slip. Anglers, put it in your pocket, okay? That becomes the same thing as your boat flag. You cannot weigh in without it, okay? You must have it. If you launched at an alternate ramp when you check in, they will bump your fish there on the water and give you a bump slip. If you launched at Binion Creek, check in, load your boat, and we'll have staff on the ramp to bump your fish and give you the bump slip. Must use our bags for this one. Since it's a trailer weigh-in, you're only going to use the mesh bag, and we'll get to some details of that in a minute. So don't be surprised when we come and hand you the mesh bag only. That is all you will get for this one because it's a trailer weigh-in. Again, you see I've got bump slip capitalized and highlighted. You must present your bump slip to weigh in. Anglers do not lose it. I'm going to skip over some stuff here. Weigh in, as I said, will be at Tuscaloosa County High School. And you have the Remind app and all the emergency numbers to call there on your screen. Blast off procedure is pretty normal. Launch at Binion Creek, or in this case, some others will be at alternate ramps and then proceed to the staging area at Binion Creek. You'll see on the map in a minute. Everything else is standard. Everybody should know that by now. Boat captain do's and don'ts. So the third Tiger tournament this year, you should know this by now. I'm not going to cover that for sake of shortening the meeting. All right, I am going to cover a little bit of this one because it's different. Once you check in at the boat dock, okay, we always have to check in at the boat dock. We all know that. Okay, once you check in at the boat dock, you're going to proceed to load your boat unless you launched at an alternate ramp. In this case, you'll have your fish bumped there at the check-in dock, and we'll have a person there to do that for you, and they will give you your bump slip, which again, you must have to weigh in. If you launched at Binion Creek, you go ahead and load your boat. Once your boat is loaded on the trailer, grab our staff. They'll be standing there watching. You probably won't have to call them, but just make sure in case they're busy, you get them and get them to come bump your fish before you leave. Our staff will come and they'll climb up in your boat, look at your fish, bump any that need to be bumped on a ruler, and they'll give you a bump slip, right? It'll have your number of fish, any short, any dead, the time that you checked in, and your boat number. That becomes everything that you need for this tournament at that point, okay? Once you get your bump slip, then you can proceed to Tuscaloosa County High School and get in line with the boat, okay? And there's a map that shows how to come in. As you get close to the weigh-in trailer, a member of our staff will bring you a mesh bag, okay, to you. Once you get that mesh bag, anglers, you should be in the boat by then. You take that mesh bag and you put your fish inside that mesh bag. And then you take the bag with the fish in it and put it back in your live well in the water with the aerators running to take care of the fish until you get up close enough to the trailer. And we tell you, a member of the staff tells you to get out of the boat and go over to the weigh-in trailer, okay? Once you go over to the weigh-in trailer, there'll be someone sitting there at the beginning of the small tank that we have, the queue line, and they're going to ask for your bump slip. If you do not have it, you're not weighing in. Okay, make sure you have that bump slip. All right, the rest of that stuff is standard, so I'm not going to cover it. This is Binion Creek landing. Okay, it is narrow and tight. Okay, we can get 100 boats in here. We can make it happen. We've done it before. However, I don't need you showing up to the boat ramp with all of your tackle and all of your rods in the truck and not in the boat. You need to be pretty well ready when you get here. Okay, if you have to do more than take your motor toter off and unstrap your boat, you need to stop back here in this grassy area where it says P6 and get all that done. Because once you get up here where you go to the right, it becomes narrow. And if you're sitting there trying to unload rods and reels and tackle out of your boat and take your cover off, you're going to be holding everybody up and running us late. Okay, so please make sure you're ready when you get to the boat ramp. If you've got to do more than take your straps off and your motor toter, stop in that grassy area back there where it says P6 and get ready to go before you get in line, please. We try to keep this flowing as fast as we can and keep boat trailers off the highway. I think Jeffrey is trying to get a police officer to set out there on the road with the flashing lights. We did that last time we had a tournament here, so hopefully we're able to get that from a safety standpoint. All right, for blast off, you see the staging on the screen here and the off limits. The off limits is just the area around the boat ramp. And staging, you see the spots. If you're boat 51 and above, you should be under the bridge. Okay, I don't need 100 boats setting out in front of me, because you guys know, I tell you this every time, boats do not make 90-degree turns. Okay, that's why it's set up like this, so we can keep it flowing smooth and don't have somebody getting turned around and holding up the line. Pretty self-explanatory. We've done it this way several times and it works if we follow the procedures. So please make sure you don't crowd up here in front of the boat ramp. Stay back under the bridge until it starts flowing out and just make your way up. This is just showing kind of the flow, how you'll come and try to stay over close to the road and the causeway so that you can get lined up straight with that dock where we're going to blast off again. Boats do not make a 90-degree turn. We need you to be parallel to that dock before you get to it. This is Tuscaloosa County High School. Got a couple of these maps. You'll see you've got in the top right spectator parking and boat overflow. I don't think we'll need that for boat overflow. You see there in front of the school, right in front of the school, you see the trailer. The spectators will be across the road in the grassy area. And then you see the boat parking below the school on your screen, and then some additional boat parking down below. Please make sure and tell your spectators, make sure they know where the spectator parking is so they're not taking up your parking places for the boat trailers. Really need a lot of communication with the spectators for this one, because you'll see on the next slide, once we get to start weigh-in, which is 2 o'clock, the road, I know you can't see my cursor, but the road there that says Wildcat Drive, that's where the boats are going to enter. So we can't have spectators getting in our weigh-in line. So after 2 p.m., they're going to need to enter on the Frankie Thomas Tree Road where the green arrows are. And there's 2 ways you can go there and go behind the school to the spectator parking. So please make sure you communicate with your spectators. All right, once you get to the school with the boat and your fish to weigh in, you're going to come down Wildcat Drive, and you see where I have the number 1 there. Everybody will come around. Up where I've got number 2, you'll turn left and come in front of the school. We will double file, have a double file line there for sure. If we start backing up past that number 1, we may double file further back, okay? but you're going to follow. But please make sure you go all the way up that Wildcat Drive. Do not try to turn left and come in front of the school. You see the red box there? That is going to be blocked off. You cannot enter and come up to weigh in that way. And please tell your boat captains this, because that's kind of a tight road. If he turns in there, he's not going to be able to get through. And then he's going to have to either back that boat trailer all the way out that narrow road, because there's not enough room to turn around. Make sure you just follow Wildcat Drive all the way around till you see our staff, and they'll direct you. You'll turn left there in front of the schools and turn into a double file line, as I said. There where number 3 is, we'll have a staff member to bring you back down to a single file line. Somewhere in there, you will have if not before, you will have your mesh bag and be putting your fish in your mesh bag and back in your live well, and be getting ready to get out and come to the trailer. As you kind of turn right on the little circle there, somewhere in there, we will have a person to tell the anglers to get out of the boat with their fish and come up to the trailer, where we'll have one tank, probably have 5 or 6 teams queued up in it, just so we can keep the flow going, okay? Boat captains, you just stay in line, and I will keep it straight so that when your anglers come on stage, you will be the next boat trailer up and pull up in front of the stage, and we'll have someone to stop you at the appropriate place so that you can sit there kind of diagonal in front of the stage and be able to hear and see your anglers weigh in, okay? My big ask here is, boat captains, as soon as your anglers get done weighing in, I need you to move on to the parking area, right? So that we can get the next boat captain pulled up in place, so that we can keep moving with weigh-in. So please help me out with that, boat captains. I want you guys to be able to see your anglers weigh in. You've been out there in the boat with them all day, working hard. But as soon as you get to see them weigh in, I need you to move on so that we can get the next one up and they're able to see their anglers weigh in. Okay. Once that happens, you proceed on around the circle and to the, it'll go straight over to the boat parking area and park, and then you can come back with your spectators and tailgate or whatever, watch the rest of the way in. All right, let me see what else I got here. Remember the dead fish penalty. I talk about that every time. It is an escalating penalty. You don't want dead fish. We should open the scales by 1:30. We'll have them open. We'll probably be ready sooner. If you need to leave before then for some reason, call us before you come off the water and check. But a lot of times we are ready before 1:30. As I said, we have approximately 140 boats registered in this tournament. And Binion Creek will only hold about 100. So we need about 40 of you guys to launch at alternate ramps, preferably the local schools to the area. Just some major points for this tournament. Again, you must check in at Binion Creek and get a bump slip, right? If you launched at an alternate ramp, you must still come to Binion Creek and check in, fish or no fish. If you have fish, you got to get bumped and get your bump slip there. If you launched at Binion, of course, you got to come back there, check in, and make sure you get your bump slip before you leave, coming to the high school for weigh-in. It is a trailered weigh-in only, obviously. You'll have to trailer to Tuscaloosa County High School to weigh in. And remember the designated parking area for the spectators and using the back drive after 2 p.m. All right, what else? I believe that is about all that I have for this one. So with that, I will let everybody go and just say good luck, Tiger anglers, and we look forward to seeing you at Lake Tuscaloosa this weekend. Thank you.